Alrighty. I think it's time for me to switch the scene over. I think it's time to chat. I think it's time to say hi. Hi. How we all doing? Ooh, I want to put on a little bit more lip color. Don't mind me. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone is doing well. If you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Baeginning. This is my time on It Gets Better. I always love being here, even if I do get super anxious that literally every time I'm gonna go live, I'm gonna mess something up. Especially because last time I went live, OBS was having this really bad issue with people saying you were going live and then it actually not like broadcasting it. So now I have even more anxiety that something bad is gonna go happen and I'm gonna break everything. It's not gonna be a fun time. But I'm doing all right. Jester, hello. Becca, hello. Soki, hello. Gabby, hello. Also, Double Neg, I saw you there, friend. I hope everyone is doing well. You won't mess up. You're gonna do great. See, it's the part of what we're gonna be talking about today, because it's gonna be something that's actually been like acting up really a lot for me, which is mental health and anxiety and all of the stuff that sort of comes with that territory, and even more to it, the mental health stress that comes as being somebody like myself who, you know, I am a trans woman and I deal with even more of the dysphoria, the anxiety, the stress, and there's a lot to like unravel and discuss in that area. And that's not even talking about the fact that there's just general anxiety like anybody can experience. And a lot of those times it's hard to inherently get through those days, you know? Like, yesterday I didn't stream because of it. Meanwhile, I had a friend who was feeling pretty much the same exact way, and her way of coping with it was going live and streaming and having a community to talk to and like that kind of thing. Like, so that's kind of what I want to talk about today. And in the background, we're just going to play some marbles. So if people want to jump in on some marbles races, I can totally do that. I did just think about it, though. I might have to message you, Sulky, because I think there's some... Let me open up marbles, because there might be something that we have to do with marbles in order to actually run this, because it was something I didn't think about. So let me... I'm going to actually open up marbles right now, and I'm going to try to, like, get that all figured out ahead of time. Mental health is a struggle. Yeah, exactly. And I know that that's the big thing. And as somebody who cares a lot about mental health, cares about trying to make people feel content, feel happy, feel welcome, and feel like they're allowed to inherently feel like they can experience what they, you know, what they are feeling. Like, the biggest thing is just validating. Allie, hello. Thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. Appreciate you being here. I love seeing my community members. My pronouns are she, her. They're listed right down there. Thank you for asking. So it's one of those things that inherently I do like want people to feel validated in what they're feeling, because sometimes that gets lost in their sort of circle or in where people's friends are. Like, you sort of lose that like validation because people are trying to figure out like how to help the person, but you're almost like invalidating those feelings because of it. And that in itself becomes such a problem, because it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be like this thing that is like taboo to talk about, especially as like a content creator. You know, the thing about like mental health as like a content creator is that people will stress that you shouldn't talk about you know, some people will talk about that you shouldn't talk, like, or they'll be like, oh, I don't want to hear about that. I'm here to be entertained, not hear about like that kind of thing. And like, that's the sad reality of things. Like, it shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be that you have to do that kind of thing. And it should, like, I'm somebody who tries to be very transparent, and I try to give people that open honesty because I think it's important to have these discussions. And if you try to push it back and hide it, it's one of those things that you will inevitably lose that ability to discuss it more. If it's a topic that gets discussed more and more frequently, then inherently you're going to run into where you can have open discussions and it's not going to be as taboo or as socially awkward for a lot of people. Because I think we, as humans growing up, are inherently told not to, you know, discuss these things, or we're told, you know, it's not like a place for like an open forum or anything like that. Like, it's only over the past like couple years is mental health being something that's being talked about more. And I come from a background of, I went to school for sports marketing. I knew a lot of traditional sports aspects, and people coming out talking about just having anxiety is such a rare feat to have people talk about. And it's been happening more and more that they're coming out about this kind of stuff, but it still feels like people are afraid to talk about things like anxiety, like dysphoria, like stress, and all of these other topics that end up being associated with life. And again, like yesterday was one of those days where I woke up and I don't know if it was because of the estrogen or I just wasn't feeling great. One of those two, but I woke up, it was 9 a.m., and I just started crying. I was feeling like I didn't like the way that I look. I was dealing with dysphoria there. My mental health was down. I just had a rough feeling, you know? And then it sort of culminates more. Like, you look at yourself in the mirror some days, and there are days where you're like, damn, I don't look feminine enough, or damn, I don't look masculine enough, depending on how you choose to identify, or I don't look androgynous enough. Like, there's all these things that inherently the brain, like these intrusive thoughts that your brain sort of develops there. And it makes things difficult. You had a hard time telling your boss when you were having bad mental health. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, it's almost taboo to talk about that in the workplace. To be able to have a workplace that allows you to talk about this stuff is such a like rare thing for some people, you know. And again, as a society, it needs to be changed. It needs to be developed more and be able to have these kinds of conversations. It's okay to be stressed. It's okay to be anxious about coming out to people. It's okay to have dysphoria, but like the biggest thing you have to remind yourself is, how do I cope with it, and how do I work with that feeling, and how do I push myself through those negative days? You know, again, I can use yesterday as an example for me, where I didn't work. I canceled my streams. I took another nap. That nap helped a lot. And then I showered, which was really good. And then I cooked some food with my mom. I actually recently started HelloFresh, and just sort of cooking and keeping myself occupied really helps. Yo, Chewy, thank you for coming on in. You've been in that position for, yeah, it's such a thing that I think gets overlooked, you know, and it's a like stressful situation that comes with it. And then that's not even talking about how it feels as like a content creator, because as a content creator, there's the stress of, oh, am I being entertaining enough? Oh, do people like me? And then for me as a trans woman, it's, do I sound feminine enough? Am I going to get misgendered? Am I going to deal with, transphobia and hate raids and all that stuff? There's a lot more that sort of comes in that field, And I think, like, that is the sort of problem that occurs with it. All right, I need to message Sulky real quick. All right, sorry. I needed to double check on that. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding there. Mello, hello. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Sorry. Lilas, hello. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Alright. I have to scrap the marbles, unfortunately. I forgot that there was a way that I have to sign in with the account, and I forgot that marbles inherently makes it so that you have to sign in. And so that was a mistake on my end, and I'll be 100% honest with that, so I apologize. So that was what we were trying to discuss right there, is because I forgot that, like, how marbles works is that you have to sign in with an account and stuff like that. And I'm used to doing it on my own personal channel, which I can easily sign in on. So it's one of those things that I don't stress about that. So, again, that's another thing. Like, now, all of a sudden, how my brain works is I'm like, oh God, did I just mess up? Is this something that's gonna be a problem going forward if I continue working with it gets better? Like, all of a sudden, there's how my brain works is I inevitably start to doubt that everything is okay, and that, all of a sudden this, like, one mess up is gonna be, like, a big thing. And I appreciate you letting me know that it's okay, because, like, that validation helps. It's just, like, the perfect example of how mental health can be, like, so rough, especially as a content creator. Because, like, I'm somebody who just wants to entertain. I'm somebody who wants to make everyone happy, and that's such a problem that I have, and I shouldn't be trying to stress about that. But anytime that I have something in my brain that could possibly upset somebody or possibly, impact me negatively, I start to panic internally and you deal with, like, the stress from that. And then again, like, it's it's why I felt like this was such an important topic to talk about for me, because mental health has been such a important thing in such a rough area right now that I'm finding myself needing to constantly, like, talk about this. And I think, like, spending this platform right now to sort of talk about it and get it all out is probably going to be not only therapeutic for me, but also important to discuss. And I think, like, that's such a valuable thing to have there. Especially from the yeah, exactly, Gabby. Like, for instance, I was streaming on Monday, and when I was streaming on Monday, I played a spooky game. And when I was getting ready to play that spooky game, I had multiple people come into the stream and be like, "Hey, I don't want to be here for spooky, sorry," and then, like, they leave. And I totally understand that, But internally, I'm like, damn, did I really just like push my viewers away? Is this the right decision? Then I deal with like the stress in my head of, wow, I'm just pushing away people and I don't want to do that. And then there's like that sort of internal dialogue that you run through. And that's all happening when I'm live. Like the amount of thoughts that are running into your head when you try to present face and you try to make sure that people are able to inherently able to like enjoy the content, and you don't want to show that because you want people to make sure that they can focus on the entertainment and not be in the sad girl hours with you. Cody, hello, how are you? I hope you're doing well. You feel that so much? Yeah, Sulky, like, I talked about this if you remember a couple weeks ago, there was a lot of hate raids toward the LGBTQIA plus streamers that were on this platform. And I tweeted about this because I was saying that everything that we're told to do in that situation is don't let them see that it's affecting you. Don't let them know that you're bothered by it, because that's letting them win. And because you internally are told that, then you hold in all of that emotion, all of that negativity, that sadness, or whatever you're feeling, and you don't show it. And then it builds up. And then as soon as, like you're off camera, at least for me, I just, like, it festers into this thing that becomes worse because you can't deal with it in the moment. And it's funny that I mentioned deal with it in the moment because I remember in high school, before I even came out, I would deal with a lot of anxiety and stress. And I would always try to go to my guidance counselor, who ended up actually being one of my coaches in school. And I would try to go to her to talk to her. And how my school worked is that you had to have appointments to go see your guidance counselors. And so I would be like, but I need to talk to somebody now. My problem isn't going to be a problem in 2 days, but I'm feeling like garbage mentally right now. And that was like the biggest thing that sucked about trying to get help in high school for me, was there were constant times where my feelings were more like I needed to deal with it then. Yeah, time literally heals all wounds, but that doesn't mean that if you could talk about it now, you'd be able to find a way to work on it later. And that was that like problem for me, was that when I needed the immediate help, I couldn't ever get the immediate help. And I think like it's the same thing with like when you deal with something negatively on stream. You're told not to deal with it, so you wait until you deal with it later, which unfortunately doesn't allow you to like get through with it in the moment, which ends up inherently like, I feel like when I'm discussing that, actually, hang on, I want to change the music. I want to have different vibes here. When I'm talking about this stuff, you end up thinking about it differently, or you get the sort of feeling of, how did I, instead of it, if you're thinking about it in the past tense, it's, all right, what was I feeling then? And sometimes if you go a day without discussing it, it's hard to really figure out what you were feeling in that exact moment. And it's okay to not know that, but you have to sort of find that, like, it's a different topic when you're trying to reconnect with what you were feeling. You think the healthy medium right now might be responding to it without responding? So like, wow, that happened. That's not okay. 2022. Why are we dealing with that? So that you're stronger than it and sweeping it under the rug. I think like you're right. And I think my personality is, for those who know me, you know that I'm inherently sassy. I'm inherently sarcastic. My mom pointed out to me that I use the word inherently a lot, and now I'm so self-conscious over the idea that I use it. I feel like that I said it like 3 times yesterday talking to my mom, and she was just like, no, why are you saying this? Like, use a different word. And I can, like, now I'm noticing every time I say it. It's a great word. It is. I like sounding like I'm smart. So using it inherently is a fun word. Times like those, you think friends are very important. I agree. I agree. And, you know, that's only, again, like, on, like, the content side of things. When I'm struggling with my gender identity, and I love that you're fiercely defending yourself in your community, though. Yeah. And I've said this a lot, and I'll continue saying this. How I am with my content is, fine, whatever. I can handle whatever toxicity that somebody throws at me. But I don't want my viewers, my chatters, the people who are here to suffer. Whatever, if it makes me a martyr, then so be it. And that shouldn't be the way that it is, but inherently that's how I've sort of allowed myself to view that stuff. Because that's how I always was growing up. And I think, like, again, that falls on the maybe like the lack of self-worth that I gave myself growing up because I wasn't able to be true to myself. You're right. I don't. And that's the thing, that it's something that I ingrained in my head early on because I had this issue of being able to have self-worth with myself and self-love on myself. And that's why it's so important to have that. Because if you don't, then you end up just not caring about how people will perceive you and how people are going to react with you. And that's, like, it takes getting to a certain point of, I would say, maturity, honestly, or somebody, like, just being able to word it the right way for you to really realize that and realize that that's not okay. And again, like, the whole thing about, you know, the gender anxiety, I deal with the mental battles of, I feel like I'm not ever making progress enough with my transition. I feel like a lot of the time I will sit there and I will feel like I'm getting too complacent in a sense. I'm not putting in enough effort to take my next step forward with my transition. And then inherently I dig myself down. There it is again. Yeah, I see. I'm gonna mentally point it out to me every time I say it. We should just keep a counter, chat. Let's keep a counter for every time I say inherently today. I think we're already at 5. But it's one of those things where because I struggle with the idea that I'm not going fast enough or I'm not doing enough for myself, I will end up dealing with, like, the dysphoria and the mental battle that comes with that. I kid you not. I asked a friend earlier last week. She was like, hey, I used to be a personal stylist back at, like, this boutique that I worked at, because I tweeted out that I was like, I wish I had somebody who could literally just, like, tell me, hey, stop not talking, like, stop not buying clothes and just do it. And I was like, I wish I just had somebody who told me, hey, this will look good, just buy it. Because I don't have that when I don't have IRL people to spend time with. I don't have a partner romantically that I have. Like, I have friends, but my friends are online. And it's different when you have somebody in person to do that kind of stuff with. And I will say, my friend who actually is a stylist actually did come through. We actually spent like an hour in a call, and it was like super heartwarming. And I bought like 4 different dresses, like 3 different skirts, a couple more feminine cut tops, like the ways to sort of push myself. And yeah, I might have anxiety wearing it, but I also know that it's the stuff that I want to wear and the stuff that I want to push myself on because I know it's important to me. But you also have to remind yourself that everybody's journey is different, and what might work for me might be a little bit harder for you or little Timmy because, you know, again, everyone's journey is different. But for me, I sort of needed that push. I needed a friend to just be like, as your personal stylist, I say buy it. And I'm like, okay, fine, I will buy it. So we might have a little bit of a dress haul going on. And I think for me, part of why I also want to express my femininity more is, yes, it makes me happy, but every time I get misgendered or people use the wrong pronouns for me, it is this feeling of frustration and this feeling of sadness. And I don't know if I have anybody else here who can vouch for this, especially with what the next thing I'm about to say. I feel like if people are only hearing my voice and they don't hear or they don't see how I look, they inherently, there it is again, sometimes will use the wrong pronoun because they're gauging just off the voice. And that ends up in bothering me. I caught myself on that time. I almost said it again. I caught myself. It's gonna be a game. I'm gonna use a different word. I'm not gonna use that word. We need a voice ban for the next 3 hours. That just stops me from using the word inherently. But it's one of those things that when I'm not in front of a camera or I'm not in front of a person, I feel like my voice is such a cause of stress, anxiety, and dysphoria. And it's come a lot because of past examples where, let's say I was streaming without a camera and somebody came in and didn't use the correct pronouns. Now, I've been streaming on and off on this platform for a while now. My first stream was back in 2017, so we're almost at 5 years that I've been on this platform streaming. I still remember in, like, the first 2 months of me streaming, I wasn't using a camera for the first year of streaming, and I had somebody come in and be like, so where's Bae talking in this? And I was playing a game and I didn't have a camera, and because my voice didn't sound like how my friend imagined, they thought it was somebody else and not me. And that memory still, like, mentally is like scarring almost, because what they were implying there was that my voice was sounding too deep to be, you know, matching the pronouns that I've given the person. And obviously this person had no idea, but at the time it felt like they were like, oh, it almost felt like they were thinking that they were being catfished instead of just understanding that I'm a trans woman. And it sucks because like, that, again, that moment happened 4.5 years ago, and for it to still be bothering me and for it to still be resonating with me and almost, like, in a way causing that, like, subtle fear, because ever since I got onto streaming, that was such an early on thing that now I feel as though my voice is constantly in a point where I need to pitch it higher or find a way to make it less anxious for me. And, you know, there's vocal training and vocal therapy that I can do, but some of that stuff takes a little bit of time. It takes money, and, you know, there's only, and like, it also takes, the big thing is that we have to, when we're not feeling down, not be lazy. And we have to not let the depression win, because let's face it, I'm sure there's people here right now that have had a day where they've let their depression win and they don't get out of bed. I'm literally just outing myself on how yesterday was. I didn't get out of bed until 3 p.m. yesterday because my depression was bad and I wasn't feeling great. I wasn't feeling like I had any, and like, it's the days like that that you inherently that you have to push yourself on, that you have to do more for yourself. This story makes you feel type of way. You're so sorry that you have to overcome these things just to be you. Yeah. And that's like the thing that like sucks. And then there's, you know, another thing that I was talking about yesterday that oh my god, May, hello, chat. May's here. If you don't know May, May is one of my mods. Along with Cody. I love that I have multiple of my mods here right now. And so, I was talking about how, as a trans woman, I feel like I have to hop more hurdles on this platform to sort of prove that I have good content or prove myself to other people. And it's almost like you know, it's the same logic that of, you know, like, you know, a woman could put the same amount of work in a traditional job and make less money because she's a woman. It's like that same kind of thing. I could be making the same amount of content or the same kind of content as a cis-het white male, and I could have significantly drastic viewer difference because, you know, maybe they look at me and they don't think that I'm going to be entertaining, or they don't want to be around a trans woman. And like, that second part is something that I also have to understand, that if they don't want to be around me, then they shouldn't be welcome in my community in the first place. Like, I don't want those kind of people there, but there's still the idea that you have to go through all of these extra steps just for people to want to like you and just for people to want to be around you. Also, Fawn Flowers, thank you for the follow. I see you. Thank you for coming on in. Today has been already feeling really good to see a bunch of my community members here, and I appreciate those who are jumping in on this discussion. Because a lot of you know me right now, that know I have this, like, I have these sort of things that I want to talk about, and I don't want to, but like, I get distracted over like a game or something like that, and I sort of lose these thoughts and I lose these conversations. So being able to have these talks in almost like an open forum kind of way. You're currently cooking? Ooh, what are you cooking? Chat, quick distraction break right now. What have we eaten so far today? I had some lovely chicken that I made with my mother. It was from HelloFresh. It was panko breadcrumb mixed together with Italian spices, put onto the chicken, and then the Italian spices got put on carrots and potatoes, so I ate a little bit of that. And then I made myself grilled cheese. You had ramen? Ooh, what kind of ramen? We had curry there. Sounds like fun. Also, you're making clam chowder. That's all sounds incredible. I've been really good. I've been, one of the goals that I set was that I wanted to, another area of mental health and stress right now is this is going to be a little bit of a possible trigger warning for some people, but like, my weight is inherently like a big cause of concern for me. I've been really wanting to lose weight more because like, for those who don't know, when you take estrogen, your new body fat coming in gets redistributed differently than how testosterone works. With estrogen, the body fat gets pushed more to your butt and your hips. With testosterone, it rests in the stomach. And the stomach is a big area of dysphoria for me because I haven't been able to lose that body weight pre-transition. So I've been trying to cook a lot more. I've been trying to work on these ways to help myself lose weight. And I actually weighed myself today, and I'm already down about 12, 13 pounds in the past, like, 3 weeks. So I do feel good about myself, and I feel like I'm making good progress about that. I'm still not where I want to be, but I am not ordering food has been such a huge thing for myself. I would really like some avocado right now, Soki, not gonna lie. You know what I want? And I think I should talk to my mom about this. I want some homemade guacamole right now. I want, like, get a little bit of, like, avocado, get some jalapeno in there for kick, some nice, really, like, juicy tomatoes, mix it all together. About to tuck into some pasta bake. Ooh, okay, Chewy. You had cappelletti with tomato sauce and veggies. Look at you all eating some lovely meals. Also, it's a very pasta noodly kind of day. Let's make Wednesday Noodle Wednesdays for now on. All right, chat. We're gonna have noodles on Wednesday. It could be ramen. It could be gnocchi. It could be pasta with bolognese. I don't care. I'm dubbing. If we can have Pizza Friday, I'm dubbing Wednesday Noodle Wednesday. You heard it here first. Sounds amazing. Yeah, my ex, they are, they when they visited here, so they're native Italian, and when they stayed with me, they made, one day they made, like, a homemade guacamole when they were here, and I still remember it vividly because it was such an enjoyable experience. A, having that, like, homemade guac, and B, being able to enjoy that with them. It's like, it's one of those, like, small memories that I sort of hold to myself. You know, like, there's a lot, I don't know if anybody else feels like that, but there's, like, these very simple memories that I'll remind myself on, or I'll think about, that end up being something that sort of resonates with me for a longer period of time, and they're like those small little ones that hold, like, that little bit of joy to yourself. On Wednesday, we eat noodles. Exactly, Mello. But back to what I was saying with, like, the stomach, because that old testosterone is still, or I'm honestly experiencing difficulty with my own hormone replacement therapy stuff. I need to work on getting a new person, a new endocrinologist personally, because it's actually been a struggle, and that's another area where, like, my mental health has been struggling. Vibe check was awesome. Chewy, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to feel like I don't have restrictions on what I'm wearing self-consciously, and being able to have that proper hormones working and be at, like, a healthier weight for my personal thing. I know a lot of people will talk about that that I don't, you know, look bad or anything like that. Like, first of all, I'm 6 foot tall, so I things hide a lot, but it's the internal battle. Again, like, everybody else could say that I'm fine, but for me, and again, I asked this question for anybody who is femme or femme adjacent identifying. There's this, when I came out, there was this internal image that I sort of developed for myself of what I should look like. And as a woman, you end up having these social standards that you feel like you almost have to meet, because if you don't, then you're not falling into like the societal norm. And not to say that we all should do that, because we shouldn't, but internally at times I'm like, oh, this part of me doesn't look like how I envisioned myself, because I envisioned myself looking more feminine, like this ideal image that I created. And that ideal image ended up being like something that sort of is wrong to have done, because you end up putting yourself down constantly that you're not hitting this like goal. It's good to have an end goal, but it's not good to make that the end all be all, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's all about getting that confidence, and we're doing it. We're doing it. Again, we bought some dresses, we bought some skirts, we bought some things that are going to make me feel good. And I honestly, like, between my own content and working on here, like, there has been confidence developed, because I will hang out here, I'll hang out with, meeting new people. I think anytime I can interact with people, I will oftentimes feel better, as long as it's, like, at the very minimum, a, like, neutral reception. Because I am extroverted. I am somebody who almost at times relies on other people's opinions, and that's, like, not okay, but it is something that I feel as though I know myself to be that way, and I know that I want to be able to have these conversations, because I also am just the kind of person who likes to gauge opinions. But again, maybe that's just an excuse that I developed. Like, it's funny how when you're discussing something, you can sort of realize, yo, Trip, thank you for coming on in. I know that I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but when I talk about something and I like vocalize it, I can sort of realize a little bit more, like, oh, maybe this is an excuse. Maybe this really isn't how I feel. It's just this mental this mental barrier that I gave myself as an excuse not to. Like, you can tell yourself, oh, I didn't go live because I was feeling anxious, but maybe that's just, like, the excuse that you give yourself. And that is something that I have realized a lot, as I am somebody who tries to be vocal, as I try to facilitate conversation. You can sort of have that, like, bell, that, like, light bulb, appear over your head, just like every other cartoon that you've ever seen. Imagine the It Gets Better logo right here as a little light bulb, like the aha, that kind of thing hits. And the other thing that I always tell people about mental health and, being able to, like, figure yourself out is, if you heard the same thing 49 times, or you could hear the same thing 49 times and it not click, but you could have the 50th person say it in a way that all of a sudden just resonates with you, and you're like, wow, I get it. Yeah, that really is a problem of mine. Or, hey, this is a way that I could fix it. You know what I mean? I'm sure we've all been there, where we've talked to, multiple people about, what do I do? How do I fix this kind of thing? And persons A, B, and C could all say the same thing, but person D could all of a sudden just word it in a way that just, like, is eye-opening. And it could be the same sort of conversation that you were having, but just maybe it's the respect that you have for that person, maybe it's the way that they worded it, but there's all these things that I've noticed where I try to be self-aware. Normally that for you, that's TikTok's calling you out. Speaking of TikToks, did you know that It Gets Better has their own TikTok account? Smile. Look at me go. I'm doing great. I know how to subtly and organically send out advertisements. Look at me go. I know what I'm doing. I always find myself just sort of, that's the other thing. A lot of people who watch me know that I do this. I've developed this ironic into an unironic way of being a sellout, but mainly for other people. Aw. While we're on that topic, yes, if anybody here doesn't know who I am, all of my socials are listed down below. Before we continue this conversation, I'm going to say this again at the end, and this isn't anything more than me wanting to speak my heart. And I know a lot of my community knows this. I have gotten so much personal satisfaction and personal validation working with It Gets Better, because the idea of helping trans youth and the idea, or LGBTQ youth in general, the idea of being able to allow people to feel comfortable with themselves, even at an earlier age than what I did, that brings such a joy and like a special place to my heart. It's why I I look forward to this. This isn't like a chore for me. This is being able to be on this platform. Even if I can impact one new person a stream, that's one new person that I might not have been able to have met if I wasn't here. And the idea that I started on It Gets Better, their Twitch channel, right at the start of it, it's a really fulfilling thing to see it grow over the 6 months that I've been here, and to see it, and it's all, again, I don't want to go into like too much about it, but that's why I want to like see this through more. I want to keep, I want to see this develop more. I want to be at the, like, I love to being able to say that I work with It Gets Better. I love being able to say I'm an ambassador here and that I represent this brand, because this brand is just like a true testament to what I try to show on my own personal channel. So that, again, that's just something that was on my mind that I very much wanted to discuss here. And I know, like, today feels a little bit bittersweet only because it's my last scheduled show with It Gets Better. And so there's just a lot of emotions. Oh my god, Pop-Tart, I feel like I haven't chatted with you in a while. Thank you for being here. It's been such an honor dealing with you and watching you thrive here. And like the best part is that, yeah, like I feel like I've been able to interact with, someone like you more, Lilas, because, obviously we're both in the Twitch's Women's Alliance, but I feel like I have really good conversations with you here, and then you see I come by your stream every now and again because I want to, continue seeing that, and being able to just meet new people is such a satisfying thing, on top of the fact that I want to help push the growth of the LGBTQIA plus on this platform. It's one of those things that I've always said that I want to continue to grow so that I can keep inspiring and I can keep being there as like I want, like, it's egotistical possibly to say, but it's all for like the right reasons. I want to be one of the biggest trans creators out there. I want to be one of the biggest lesbian creators out there. because that would be a sense of pride for me. That would be a sense of role model for me. That sense of being able to, you know, say that I've accomplished this feat or I'm accomplishing these goals that I've set. I want to be able to have these conversations to a grander scale. I want to be able to facilitate serious conversation that I think is important to have, like mental health, like coming out, like these topics that I've talked about over the last 4 months that I've been working with It Gets Better. And so there's just a lot of emotion that comes out of this. Pops Heart, how have you been? I feel like you've been very busy lately. Also, Spectral, thank you for following It Gets Better. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. There's been a lot of community follows today. I think that you all have a lot of my... again, it's really heartwarming, especially when I can have my own community go out of their way to come to a different Twitch channel. Because you never know how many people are going to come. You never know how many of them are going to want to be here. And the fact that I've also bred a very big LGBTQIA plus community, it makes me happy that they want to come be a part of this adventure, on this journey, this venture, however you want to word it. Because, I mean, I think I did a... You've been on jury duty for the past week and a half? Oh my god, Pop-Tart. That would make sense where you've been. For those who don't know, Pop-Tart's another one of my mods. And I was like, I wonder where. But I'm glad that you're good overall. I have gotten very lucky, and the couple times that I got called for jury duty, I got exempt from it. One of the times was that I was in college, and I was in college 2 hours away, and I didn't have a car. So the mental stress of having to do jury duty in my local town and having to have gone to, like, I would have literally just been out of school for like 2 weeks. And you want to talk about bad mental health? That would have done it right there. Oh my god. It's funny. I had a you just got jury duty and went online to tell them no, you're scared they're gonna go get you in the summer. I've already gotten exempt from it twice, Sulky, so I feel like sooner or later I'm not gonna get exempt from it. So on the topic of like jury duty though, I had this very interesting, to say the least, teacher in middle school. And in middle school, this is 7th grade, so we're like 12, 13 years old. The teacher had us do a week-long mock draft. Or not mock draft, a mock trial, sorry. And there were people who were the defendants, there were people who were the prosecution and the defense lawyers. I was on the jury duty. I was one of the people who had to sit there for a week and just listen and observe. And then, like, you know, the teacher tries to be goofy and silly at times because, let's face it, we're in 7th grade. So while we're supposed to be, acting as if, we're actual jurors and so we're not allowed to speak and we're not allowed to talk when it's happening, I remember my teacher would take, like, a sticky note and then he would be like, hang on. So he would take, like, the sticky note, and then he would, like, tape it to the person, and the sticky note would say something like this. Which, if you can't read my handwriting, it says, I bet you wish you could talk right now, just being, like, a little bit of silliness to it. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, he wants people to have fun, but I remember those moments of the teacher teasing us like that, and I was just like, I'm supposed to, because we were technically getting graded on our like participation in it, and so as a juror we weren't supposed to speak, and you would just sit there like, you can like see like a picture like a cartoon with like you just sit there and like the smoke comes out of the nose and you're like, nope, I can't. That was a very interesting time, and that memory got unlocked by Pop-Tart talking about jury duty. Okay, I know we've had some good talks right now. I need to use the bathroom. I'm gonna put up the BRB screen, so I will be right back, everybody. Don't mind me, I apologize. I'll see y'all in like a minute. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Oh, I hit the wrong scene. Whoops. So, you know, through the topic, I know this has been like a very like serious discussion. One of the things that I do want to say is some good news and some good things. So, I've always feel like I share something along with the progress of my transition or my name change and stuff like that. And something that's happened over the past month or so, my license has come in. So I have a new updated license with my gender marker correct and my legal name correct. And because of that, I was able to update my credit cards and my PayPal account. So all of those things are now in the process or already have processed, and I already got one of my new credit cards in the mail with, you know, Chloe on it, and it's nice because I think, for those who don't know, my name change went through October 28th. And November 28th was the first day that I was able to initiate anything with the name change. So I've been going through it for like 5 months now, trying to change over everything. I still need to get my birth certificate updated. I still need to do my college diploma, which is something that a lot of people don't think about having to update. And I need to do my passport. Those are like the 3 big things left. And then I think I will have accomplished everything important in terms of like that I can think of that I need to change over. So that is really satisfying, to say the least, that everything is going there. I have to update my high school diploma. So I'm doing college diploma, Spectral. And I'm only doing that because if I were to go into a traditional job, I want that college diploma as a sort of way of proving that I, you know, have actually graduated college and therefore have the thing matching, you know, my actual name on the resume, if that makes sense. High school diploma, I don't feel like a lot of the time they'll probably ask to see on like a resume, but I know some traditional jobs might want to see a college diploma, or they'll take your word for it. Regardless though, Regardless about that, though, my family has my college diploma currently hanging up in their house. And so I would like to replace that. If you don't have college, you might need it updated as the most recent education. Yeah, that would probably be the case there. So, yeah, because it sort of hangs in the house, and I understand it's a sense of pride for my parents to see that, and on top of that, it's so I don't lose my diploma. But that is something that I want to update. But you want to talk about mental health, you want to talk about stress. The name change process. Ooh, girl. Ooh. Ooh. I will kid you not. I have a friend who's going to law school who was helping me through initiating the court forms to do the name change. And we were together still struggling on knowing where to go. Because, like, at least this is how it was for New Jersey. You would go online and there would be, like, categories of where you're submitting it. And it's like, are you submitting tax stuff? Are you submitting divorce stuff? Are you submitting petty crime stuff? Like, and then for name change, it was under, like, this one category and then general. Like, you wouldn't have thought about it. We spent probably, like, an hour just sitting there searching. Also, it's expensive. I think overall I spent about $300 on my name change, which is not fun. Not fun. So for the states, the thing is that every state is different. For instance, some states sadly require you to post in a newspaper that you are legally changing your name, which is very old school and very outing towards trans folk. So I'm very thankful that I didn't have to do that. Yeah, literally, it's dangerous, but that's what some states require you to do. And it's sad to say. But for me, it was a lot of online work because I was able to submit it online, which definitely, and I had a friend, again, who was in law school, which was such a vital thing toward my mental health, being able to talk to her about this, being able to have somebody else there. Considered it, but at least to get to the right spelling. I think you will pass. You know, Allie, on the topic of the right spelling, if you know me, you know my name never gets spelt right. I actually somehow, when my now do you want to hear a wild story? So when my name got changed legally, we sent a copy of my court ordered, final judgment to my insurance. Yeah? So, like, the insurance clearly has the correct name written on it. Well, somehow my insurance inputted it spelt incorrectly. They spelt my name Chole, and despite it being a them problem, I was only able to change it over if I submitted a new photo ID, because they needed proof that it was spelt wrong. And well, I only got my new photo ID 2 weeks ago. So I was literally Chole for 5 months in my insurance. So that's a thing. That's a thing. Yes, exactly. So, that was a big stress. That was not the most enjoyable experience, but that's not counting the amount of other places, like, for instance, the court itself, the government. When I initiated the name change on a PDF that I typed out, forgot the L in my name. The government, who was in the process of changing my name, spelt my name wrong. Misreading a PDF. I am just the most unlucky human being when it comes to getting my name spelt correctly by anything important. And then even in the non-important areas, I think to myself, do I talk too softly? Because I went to my local bubble tea place, and I'm not lying to you. There is a photo on my Twitter of proof. I was like, "Hi, I'd like this, bubble tea." They were like, "What's the name?" And I say, "Chloe." Chat. They wrote Zoe. At least it rhymes. But, like, how do you get Zoe? Like, if you can't hear me, just ask me to repeat myself. Don't just assume. Please. I don't want to have to go through all of these hassles and stress of changing my name. It's not Starbucks. Come on, please, just get my name correct. It's not hard. Did they shout Zoe too? Yes. One day I'm going to apply for a home loan, and it's good. Yeah, I'm going to apply for a home, and you know what? I got the solution to that, Cody. We're talking about how to work through mental health and stress. The stress of what would happen if I applied for a home loan and the paperwork said something wrong. My partner that I will have, they will be the one to have the house in their name. They will have better name luck than I will. How did I know it was mine? Because I was the only one there, Pop-Tart. They put Mary instead of Mirage. That, I feel like people who work at Starbucks, oftentimes, I feel like just don't. If people are too embarrassed to ask for confirmation or clarification, and they don't want, and so they just go with what they assumed or they heard instead of asking. We love communication here. You know what I want to do? I know it's not. Here's something I want to talk about. So, this probably goes on with a lot of the mental health and more specifically, I think, like, more understanding yourself and how you deal with things. I haven't taken one of these in a while, but I want to... Is it wrong for me if I just kind of want to do a Myers-Briggs personality test? Because I think that stuff's really fascinating, and it goes along with this kind of topic, you know? It's one of those things that I want to be able to talk about that, and I feel like it allows you to sort of analyze yourself a lot more and give you a little bit more of like an understanding of yourself. You love those. You at 3 a.m. taking them. Honestly, I am that girl who will take these kinds of quizzes a lot. Chloe, you love Myers-Briggs test? Well, I'm gonna do one then. I think that this is something that we're gonna do. So let me swap my scene over here. I have it pulled up. This is the 16 personalities one. I am genuinely curious. So also I want to crop real quick. Boop. And boop. And now let me just move my camera. And don't worry, I'm just getting everything together here. Oh, nope. Oh, you grabbed the wrong thing. Hang on, we're a work in progress together. There we go. All right, just drag us up. There we go. Okay, now we're not blocking anything, except now the she/hers text is blocked. We're getting there. I'm breaking everything. This is what I get for trying to move things. All right. There we go. All right, we're good. We're good. I fixed it. I actually get so conflicted with these answers. I regularly make new friends. So, I want to make new friends. Do I regularly make them, though? I feel like you saying you regularly do compared to you want to is like such a different conversation to have. I would probably say I'm here because of Twitch. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics. Yeah. I don't know about you all, but is anybody else like this when it comes to something like Wikipedia? Where when I'm reading on Wikipedia, anytime I'm like reading an article, I'll then proceed to click on like 4 other articles in there, and I'll just fall down the wormhole of reading. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. Yes. I am an empath. You often make a backup plan for their backup plan. Yes, because I like having plans and I don't like not having a plan. But it's probably more like here. The rabbit hole for sure. You stay calm even under a lot of pressure. I used to say I was here, but I think streaming has actually helped me get there and get better at it. I've streamed to over 1,000 people at one point and I was fine. I think I deal with stress, but I think I'm better with it now. You rarely try to introduce yourself to new people. I still do that though. In-person stuff is scary. Online, I can talk to people. You prefer to completely finish one? Nope, I'm ADHD. 5 things broke the other day. Yeah, this is true. For those who don't know, last week on stream, I kid you not, my capture card wasn't working, and then because my capture card wasn't working, I unplugged it. Unplugging it broke my camera. Then my mouse stopped working once I fixed the camera. Then my stream deck stopped working, and I was just doing on-stream tech support, trying to fix everything. I stayed calm under pressure. I might have been laughing internally and wanting to end stream, but let me tell you, I made it through that. But no, I don't finish top. I'm ADHD. I'm very sentimental. Yes. You like organizing tools such as schedules and lists. I like having I don't know about anybody else. Do you like having a mental schedule instead of like a physical one? I find a mental schedule, like a plan for my day, to be a lot more comforting than having like a hard structure. So I would say I don't necessarily use organized tools, but I like having some sort of structure. Even a small mistake can cause you to... Yup. You love physical schedules even if you stray. See, I had a calendar up here for last year, and I had the calendar for like tournaments and things, and I think I need a calendar for that kind of thing. But a like day schedule that's like, hello, Miss Chloe, you have a appointment with little Timmy at 5 o'clock to 6:30. And then after that, you have an appointment with Cody at Red Lobster. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that kind of thing. You feel comfortable just waking up to somebody you find interesting and striking up a conversation? Probably not. On Twitch, yes. I'd probably say it's there. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretations or analysts. I like understanding different opinions, not in like creative works, but like I like being in like in terms of like books and stuff like that. But on streaming, yeah. So I'd say it's probably more like that. You're more inclined to follow your head other than your heart? No. I am an emotionally driven woman. I always say emotion trumps logic. You usually just do what you feel like at any given moment. Nope. Even though this exact test was something that I decided on the moment. But no. Listen, calendars exist, so you don't forget about vital deadlines, but you don't need to map out your day. See, like, that's what I mean. Like, I want, like, I don't mind having, like, a calendar and for things like deadlines and things that I need to do. I don't want, like... Think about, like, how school was. You have math class at 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock. You have science from 10 o'clock to 11. Lunch from 11 to 11:30. You have history from 11:30 to 12. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I always am worried about a good impression. I like group stuff. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation? Not really. Because I get frustrated a lot of time at the ending. Yes, but that's something I want to work on. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. That's something that I want to fix. You are interested in so many things that you find difficult to choose what to try next. More like the opposite. I'm not interested in enough, so I find it difficult to choose what's next. So I'd say disagree. You are prone to worrying things will take... Yep. Anything involving mental health and stress, wherever there's the interpretation of an ending, you'll be up until 5 a.m. reading Reddit theories. That is me with any, like, show's ending that I'm like, all right, what does everybody else feel? Or if I'm, like, confused about a way an episode ends, I'm like, okay, Reddit, what do you have to say about this? Give me insight on how I should feel. I mean, do you find streaming artistic? Because if streaming is artistic... Hello, is it, Nysterix? Welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping on in today. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. We're having a good day. Yeah, Cody, that's exactly what I don't want. I would say if streaming is an artistic thing, then I would disagree here. You think the world would be a better place if it relied more on rationality, less on feelings? Disagree. You prefer to do your chores before allowing your... Nope, I'm lazy. Glad we're all the same with Reddit. I find, you know, I wonder if it's a personality type thing. We're gonna find out. Maybe it's a personality type. Maybe it's because we have the same personality. You enjoy watching people argue. No. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. When I'm streaming, no. I'm like, please give me all the attention. When I'm in person, I would say, honestly, disagree these days. My mood can change very quickly, yes, but that might be the estrogen at times. You lose patience for those who are not as efficient as you. Kind of, yeah. You often do things last minute. Yes, I know that's very hypocritical to those two. You've always been fascinated by the questions of what happens. Nope. That stuff scares me. I don't like thinking about that. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. Big agree. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. I'd say disagree. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are different with yours. I try my best. Some of these make you think ADHD is your personality. I mean, same. ADHD is definitely my personality. Usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. Yeah, but I have the decision in my head. I just want to make sure that it's the correct decision. I always second guess myself. I think this one's a no for social events because I do like my days off. I do like just being able to do nothing. So I'd say it's probably something like that. I enjoy going to art museums. I've gone like one time, so we'll say that. I do not have a hard time understanding people's feelings. I don't, we were just talking about this. I don't like a to-do list. I like having a loose idea of what I need to do on a day, but I don't want to have a structured to-do list. You rarely feel insecure? Good joke. You avoid making phone calls? Yeah, but that's anxiety. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different. I'd say not a lot of time, but I do think about that because I always try to understand different opinions and different sides of things. You are often the one who contacts. Nope. I like to be contacted. Yeah, I can't do phone calls. Oh my god, sulky. I worked at, so I had an internship at my local ice rink when I was at college. And in like the first week, one of the tasks that the guy that managed it had me do was he had me pretend like I was a potential new customer to the various ice rinks in the area. And he wanted me to get all of their prices listed. So I had to make a phone call to like 10 different ice rinks pretending that I wanted to be a new client. And let me tell you, that was very rough for me. You can barely answer your own phone when you let it ring. If I don't have the phone number registered in my phone, I don't answer it. The worst part is that I needed an internship to graduate. So, like, I literally needed to accomplish this and be good there in order to, like, have that happen. But that was, like, the first week, and I was like, I went on the computer, and I would try to get all the information on their website before I would go and call them. But I still had to call like 10 different ice rinks. And believe me when I say, any chance where I had the excuse to be like, oh no, they didn't pick up the phone. I guess I can't get my answer. And I would write that there. First time you've done one? Ooh, I'm excited to see what you... tell us what it is once I finish. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is get back on as soon as possible. I wouldn't say it's my top priority, but I'd say yeah. You're still bothered by mistakes you made a long time ago? Yes. I'd say, like, kind of agree. Your emotions control me? Yes. You take great care and not to make people look bad, even when it's completely their fault? Yeah. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy? Yep. When somebody thinks highly of you, you wonder how it will take for them to feel... Yeah. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time? No, that's why I stream. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time? Not my cup of tea, but I would say no. When you feel drawn to places with busy... Yeah. You know at first glance how somebody is feeling? I wouldn't say at first glance, but I tend to have a good read of people. I often feel overwhelmed. Yes. You complete things methodically without skipping over many steps. Big disagree. You were intrigued by anything labeled as controversial? No. You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought it was someone else needed it more? Probably not. Your evolutionary chain of human Hannity was Shymander, Social Chameleon, and Couchazard. All right, Cody, we're going to need a drawing of Charizard scratching his belly, sitting on the couch with some potato chips. With, like, 5 o'clock shadow. I wouldn't say I struggle with deadlines. You often feel confident that things will work out for me. My gender. There we go. That is new. That is new for me. I used to get I used to get the mediator. I've never gotten this before. I used to be a mediator. So this is all new to me. I am still 57% introverted, which is a surprise to me. I am definitely observant. I am 75% feeling. Yes, that makes sense. You got mediator? Yeah, I feel like I was very much a mediator. Yeah, we've grown. I am prospecting over judging. I am turbulent over assertive. I feel like Myers-Briggs called me out there. All right, let's read my profile. Normally you get the architect. Well, that's fitting for engineer Gabby over there. Adventurer personalities are true artists, but not necessarily in the typical sense where they're out painting happy little trees. Often enough, they're perfectly capable of this. Rather, they use aesthetics, design, and even their choices and actions to push the limits of social convention. Adventurers enjoy upsetting traditional expectations with experiments in beauty and behavior. Chances are they've expressed more than once, "Don't box me in." Okay, wait, this actually is me. I think this actually does fit me in these days. Also, it says constant improvement. Hang on, you can't see it, but constant improvement is what I want. A passion for discovery. Adventurers live in a colorful, sensual world. Sensual? Is that the word? Inspired by connections and people's ideas. These personalities take joy in reinterpreting these connections, reinventing and experimenting with both themselves and new perspectives. Not only no others try to explore and experiments in more ways. They create a sense of spontaneity, making adventurers seem unpredictable even to their close friends and loved ones. Despite all this, adventurers are definitely introverts, surprising their friends further when they step out of the spotlight to be themselves, to recharge. Just because they are alone, though, doesn't mean that people that are adventurers sit idle. Adventurers live to find ways to push their passions. Riskier behaviors like gambling or extreme sports are more common with this personality type than others. Fortunately, their attunement to the moment and their environment allows them to do better than most. Adventurers also enjoy connecting with others. They have a certain irresistible charm. Chat. What can I say? It's just in my personality. I'm just irresistible. However, if a criticism does get through, it can end poorly. Some adventurers can handle kindly phrased commentary valued as another perspective, but some comments are biting and less mature. Yeah. This right here. The charm, the suave. Adventurers are more likely a personality type to prefer print to cursive when writing. I think that's most people. I feel like that's just not an adventurer. I feel like that's most people. I feel like that's most people. All right, let's see strengths and weaknesses. Charming, sensitive to others, imaginative, passionate, curious, artistic. Weaknesses, fiercely independent. I am not independent. Unpredictable, easily stressed. There it is. There's the mental health chat. Easily stressed. Fluctuating self-esteem. Overly competitive? Okay, all right. This is just me. This is just me. We have figured it out. We have figured it out. All right. What about I want to see career paths. Free spirits at work. Yeah, I'm a content creator on Twitch. Looking to tomorrow? Yeah, I'm already planning things. Okay. What about workplace habits? Adventurer subordinates don't like to be controlled. Alright, that's where it's wrong. Imagine it said streamer. Yeah, literally imagine if it was just like, you want to be a streamer. I mean, the key thing about that is that it had said that, like, I like to be artistic, but not in the traditional sense, which is exactly what I was, like, trying to say. Among peers, I feel the most comfortable. Yes. Feels unnatural to have management? I wouldn't say no. Alright, I want to see the... Here we go. Alright, adventurers you may know. Lana Del Rey, Jungkook, who I think is BTS. I need a K-pop person. Avril Lavigne, Kevin Costner. I don't know who Frida Kahlo is. Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, Jessica Alba. I don't know any of these characters here. It was okay. Thea, okay. Arrow, I can relate to. A lot of Lost characters here. Look at the 3 Lost characters. I like how they say why here. That's really interesting, because I think that this entire conversation here, like, let's go to the conclusion. Few personality types are as colorful as charming as adventurers. Known for their kindness and artistic skills, adventurers are great for finding exciting new things to explore and experience. Adventurers' creativity, down-to-earth attitude are invaluable in many areas, including their own personal growth. Yet adventurers can be easily tripped up in areas where the focus on practical matters more than the liability, or of a liability than an asset. Whether it is finding or keeping a partner, reaching dazzling heights on a career ladder, streaming, or learning to plan ahead, adventurers need to put a conscious effort to develop their weaker traits and additional skills. What you have read so far is just an introduction into the complex concept that an adventure is an adventure. What can I say? I'm just complex and quirky and charming. I'm sorry. You may have muttered to yourself, wow, this is so accurate, it's a little creepy. Or finally somebody understands you. You may have even asked, how do they know about me more than the people that are closest to me? This is not a trick. You felt understood because you were. We studied how adventurers think, and we need to know to reach their full potential. And no, we did not spy on you. Many of the challenges you faced will face the future overcome by other adventurers. You simply need to learn how they succeeded. The knowledge is only the beginning of the lifelong journey. Are you ready to learn why adventurers act in the way they do? What motivates and inspires you? I think that was good. I think that was good. And I think, like, again, that might have felt like a little bit of a tangent, but I think that what this sort of idea told me is kind of relevant to the whole mental health side of things, where it says right there that I'm somebody who easily gets stressed, that I feel like I constantly have goals that I want to hit, and when I'm not hitting those goals, it becomes harder. And it's one of those things that, yeah, like, and that's not even going into the fact of what I have been talking about of being a trans woman and dealing with the stress and the dysphoria and the fear of judgment and all of those other things that sort of come. Can you DM me the quiz link? Yeah, sure. I will do that real quick. Oh, I know what oh, wait. Yeah, I can do that. There we go. It even got your destined career path right. I will say, I originally got mediator, like the very first time that I did this. No problem. And then I think I got advocate. So I went from diplomatic to an explorer personality, which is very funny to think about. That I feel like I changed a very, like, spectrum base of me. You know? Like, I feel like that's... and that really does show growth as myself. Because the very first time I took this, and probably the first time I heard about this, was probably right around the time when I was coming out. So, to be able to see a 5-year growth in the fact that my personality has widely changed is such an interesting thing. Cody, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Cody, you love being the center of attention. You want that. Myers-Briggs is based off cognitive functions and learning about... I swear, like, psychology is such a fascinating thing. I keep saying, if I were to go back to school, I would probably go back to get a psych degree. Because I find that area just to be so fascinating to understand emotions and put, like, why something feels the way that it does. Also, another thing is that... Hang on, I'm gonna mute the mic because I think I'm about to sneeze. Okay, I think I'm good. Anyway. So, one of the things else that I remember about 7 years ago, I heard the first time ever, I heard the term sports psychologist, where a person would work with a sports team, whether it be traditional or esports, and they would come and help them work through whether it's anxiety, mental health, and, like, I remember hearing about this and just going, wow, that sounds like the perfect thing for me. Like, being able to work with an esports org and in the gaming sphere and be able to go up to, like, let's say your favorite pro player and they're having a rough time and they're like, hey, I seem to be constantly getting into arguments with my teammate, and I could give a deep dive into why they are argumentative and being able to understand each other's side. And, like, that feels such, like, fascinating to me to be able to do that kind of thing. Because psychology and being able to understand somebody and their emotions is such a enjoyable aspect for me. Your career path is very adjacent to what you're doing right now. So when you say very adjacent, you mean very similar, correct? Just want to make sure that, like, I'm understanding your use of adjacent there. And so I was thinking about this with the idea of, again, how it applies to, like, mental health and those kinds of things. I feel like it's in the same category. Oh, wow. So it definitely got you, Cody. I was saying that being able to understand your emotions and why you're feeling a certain way is a very important thing to have and a very important thing to experience. Because it's one thing to be like, oh, I'm sad. But it's another thing to be like, well, let's take it a step further and be like, what is it that's making me sad? What is it that is causing me stress? And then to go true full circle, what the title is about today's stream of how do I work through those things? And you know, it's not easy. I oftentimes find myself with my therapist and she'll ask me like, okay, well, what would you do in this situation? Or how did you go about it? And my response is a little sarcastic and a little sassy, but it's like, it's true. She'll ask me this question and I'll be like, if I knew, I probably would have done it already. Because sometimes you don't know. And sometimes you like try to analyze it and it's hard to, you know, figure that stuff out. You know, at the root of things, humans are complex. Emotions, I will always stand by saying, trump logic. I remember I would have people tell me, oh, you know, I'm like attracted to so-and-so. And they're like, oh, but maybe I'm not. And I'm like, you're overthinking it. Like, you're trying to analyze, for instance, love. You can't analyze love. Love is an emotion that surpasses any sort of logic that you can have. And maybe that's an opinion that you might not share. But I really do feel that emotions are, while we can understand the general end of an emotion, we struggle as humans to realize that you can't put logic behind these emotions. You can put logic behind how to work through them, but you can't, like, for instance, I'll use yesterday as an example. For those who don't know, I woke up at 9 a.m. and I started crying yesterday. I was feeling stressed. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling like I wasn't doing a good job as a content creator. I tried to calm myself down, and I could analyze and understand why I was feeling this way, in a sense that, like, I could be like, yeah, it's all of the stress that's coming for me, but trying to understand the logic beyond, oh, why am I crying though? Why is it that bothersome that I'm crying at 9 a.m.? Because that's something that I've never done. And, you know, it's one of those things that's where I literally will tell myself oftentimes, it's probably, that's when I give myself the excuse. Again, that's another thing we were talking about, excuses. I give myself the excuse that, oh, it's just the estrogen. Because if I can't understand it, it's either emotion or it's estrogen. It's funny because I'm very analytical with my job in terms of wanting to see success with it. But at the same time, I don't try to overtly analyze the emotions that come with it, because I'm like, I know my feelings are valid, and anybody's feelings are valid. That's the one thing that we have to understand here, is that if you're feeling down, or you're feeling stressed, or you're feeling like something is bothering you, you are allowed to feel like that. Nobody can tell you your feelings aren't valid. Nobody is allowed to tell you you are, and that and not even beyond like, feelings. It's about like, your identity as well. Like whether you identify as gay, as a trans woman, or a trans masc, or a non-binary. Like there are people out there who are going to try to invalidate you, but you can't be invalidated because, again, these are you. This is you. Cody, go get your lunch. Hopefully we see you back. Thanks for hanging out and participating in these conversations. I know I started at 3 o'clock, and for a lot of Americans, that means that they're probably working. And I get that. And again, that's why I appreciate everybody who stops by and hangs out for these kinds of chats. I want to do more of these. I was talking about how I really want to host more open discussions, and I want to be able to bring up sort of in the sense of what we were even talking about in the 16 personalities, where I don't want like a full structure, but I want to be able to give, like, hey, let's have these topics that we're going to talk about, and let's just have like an open discussion about them, be able to, have these kinds of talks, because I think that I don't have these in person with people because I don't have people to talk about them in person with. So for me to be able to have this discussion with a chat or another person on camera, it's such a validating experience and such a joy for me, because you can see there's a passion for it. Hell, I've been going almost 2 hours talking about this stuff. That there is something there that I feel like is important to discuss. I'm loving this talk too. Because I think that, again, there's just so much to talk about with this, and sometimes we almost as humans don't want to understand it, or we don't look to get those answers, and we don't find what we're looking for a lot of the time because of how or we don't find what we're looking for because a lot of the time, at least on this platform specifically, it's hard to find these kinds of talks. I don't know about any of you, but I oftentimes will browse the just chatting category. And a lot of the time when I'm browsing the just chatting category, I'll see a lot of things that I'm not interested in, And like, I think that's because a lot of it is more things that I don't hold passion or dear to my heart, like mental health and making sure people feel like they can be themselves and they can have comfort with themselves. I'm glad that it's been a great conversation. I really am. It has been such a good conversation, however, that I have been drinking a lot of water and I have to use the bathroom again. So I apologize, but I'm going to step away again for another minute. Please forgive me. I'll be right back, everybody. Don't apologize for human needs. Look, I just don't ever want to feel like I am neglecting. Because again, that's another one of my stresses. You say, like, don't apologize, stay hydrated, you know, all those things, but it's like, it's the, like, low-key worker mentality that has sort of been drilled into me of don't, or my camera always does this. While I appreciate it wanting to show off the full thing, I like my camera more like this. And then, like, the camera will just slowly just drift. Oh my god. So, what I was just saying right there is that I don't, like, you know, like, there's that mentality of, oh, I don't have time to take breaks, or if I'm sick, I can't come into, or I have to come into work anyway because of, you know, like, possible worries or people getting annoyed at you. And, like, is there a personality for apologist? I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm dubbing it now. Is there a personality for that where you just apologize for everything because you never want people to be upset at you? Because that's me. I kid you not. I have had multiple people growing up tell me, Chloe, you have to stop apologizing for everything. It's getting annoying. Like, they say it in a sense of, like, somebody will be like, oh, you know, I'm sick, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. As if, like, I'm sorry I asked. Like, no, don't be sorry for that. And it's, like, a thing that I've had to, like, train myself on. That's just anxiety. Speaking of anxiety, meds check. Take your meds. I say that because, my meds go right here, in this cute little Sailor Moon. This is my, this is where I keep all my meds. I love this thing. I bought this off Amazon. It's absolutely adorable. So that's where all my meds go, and have been. Aw, it's super cute. A lot of the time when I started to do, when I was doing my, like, room decorations when I first came back to streaming, I don't know if anybody else does this. I was buying a lot of things, unsure where they were gonna go or what they were being used for, but damn, were they cute. I was like, oh, yeah, I am sure I could find a use for that basket. Okay, bye. And then, like, these plants here, I have a spoiler. For this plant right here, I 100% took this out of my bathroom because I was like, my room looks like it needs some greenery. And then we bought this fake little guy off of Amazon. And again, I was like, we need more green. One day I'll take care of a real plant. I don't know about you, that's kind of stressful to me. And I know as soon as I bring up plants, I could, like, just have Lilas and Sulky come and tell me what kind of plants I could get for, like, you know, a first-time plant buyer. Because let me tell you, their house is like a greenhouse, or their stream room, at least Lilas, I feel like it gives off, like, green room vibes. Like, I know you both, or at the very least, Lilas has a good knowledge of plants a little bit, and I'm like, I feel like it would be fun for me to have, like, that little bit of, like, I guess responsibility in a way. Always down to talk plants. Okay, bet. So, step one, what is a good beginner plant for somebody who is worried that they're not going to take care of the plant and doesn't want it to die? Because I kind of am curious about having one, and I think it would be fun because, for me, I can't get a cat until I move out, and that's, like, my ideal to get. Pothos? Alright, hang on. I gotta Google what is pothos. Ooh, those are pretty. They're green and viney. Yeah, look at that. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. My bad. But look at that. That's pothos. You were gonna say cactus, but you know so many people. Is it because people will overwater a cactus? Is that that would be my best guess, is that people probably overwater the cactus. Okay, I'm down to, like, look into getting a pothos then. I think, because there's no pets in my house. And so, like, I don't have to stress about anything that, like, a cat would get to or anything like that. Best kind of... Cody, we have 2 of those. Yeah, and they don't have a space with enough... Or they don't have a space with enough sunlight. True. I live in a basement. Snake plants are also hardly difficult to kill. ZZ plants are cute and easy too. All right, hold up. Lilas is here, giving me the insight. All right, let me write these down. Snake plants are... All right, so I'm going to start writing these down here. We have snake plants. We have ZZ plants. We have pothos. All right, I got them written down. We're good. This is probably, like, the brightest that my room it can be. And so if we see that sign back there, yeah? So spoilers, that sign is my window. Or that's where my window is. So in order to keep that sign standing, I have to keep the window or the blinds and, like, the closed there. I could, like, rest it upon the window, but then it probably would be harder to see. So I probably can't bring in natural light here. That's the other problem with where my housing situation is. And that's the other, like, stress for me. And, you know, on the topic of, like, that kind of stuff, like, I find you can get grow lights fairly cheap if you want a plant that needs more light than you normally get. I mean, I could always just be like, I could brighten these. Hang on, I'm gonna, things are about to get blinding real quick. So, I use Elgato key lights, and so this is currently 10%. I just want to show you what happens if I put this at, like, just... That's 65%. Do I have enough light now? I keep my lights at 10% there. I think the key lights are... I think the key lights can work. Yeah, they get so bright. The worst part is when you, like, unplug them and they shine at, like, max brightness. God, all right. That's 100%. I feel like that's the kind of light that you keep for, like, a chameleon. And a reminder, that's only one of my lights. I have one on each side of me. I use double key lights to balance my lighting. I was glowing. I could tell I was glowing. Why'd they make... I know, like, I wonder if it's the same logic as they do with, like, cars. Because I remember early on, I questioned, if people don't want cars to go as fast as they do, why do they make them have the ability to go that fast? And it's because if you don't, then a car is going to struggle being able to hit regular speeds. So I wonder if it has, like, a similar effect with, like, the light. Like, it can't be at, like, 20% brightness if it doesn't have the ability to reach that 100% brightness. I could be wrong. I could just be talking out of my butt. But, hey, that's at least how I'm trying to rationalize it. I could be completely wrong with this kind of stuff. I don't know about anybody else, but how is cleaning a way of do you think that cleaning is a way of being able to help your mental health? Do you find cleaning therapeutic? Because I only get like itches to do cleaning, but when I do, it's like 3 garbage bags worth of garbage. It's laundry, it's clothes that I don't want. It's a way that I definitely find I feel better mentally with that kind of stuff. Not you, but we have a couple people that say yes. It's a really like interesting sort of thing to go into, because like I know that again, like you're trying to find, you purge things like every month. I need to do it more often than every month, especially because again, this dresser here, I don't have a closet. This is where everything clothing wise goes. So I'm gonna need to purge some stuff because I, again, picked up some dresses and skirts, so I need to clean out some stuff. I need to start doing my spring cleaning. But I always feel this, like, sense of pride and, like, satisfaction once I do it. And the idea that I, like, accomplished something like that I've been meaning to do, or I can see all the garbage that I threw away and I'm like, yeah, I did that. Honestly, I might do that after stream now. Savannah. Hi, Savannah. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I love Savannah very much. Gotta have good support groups when it comes to mental health. And let me tell you, Savannah's a part of that. Maybe you're the kind of person who works independently, but having a good support group of friends, especially if you're somebody who is, more specifically for me, if you're somebody who is LGBTQIA or even trans, like having these people who can just sit there and listen, even if they don't personally relate to what you're going through, just knowing that you have those people there goes a very long way. Happy to see me here again. I'm happy to be here. It's, again, it's just good vibes. It's a good chat. There's no stress about being here. It's just having a good conversation right now. And it's sad. It's very enjoyable and exciting when I can have people that join in on a conversation. As a content creator, one of my biggest stresses is always having enough engagement. But even right now, this has just been a conversation that we're able to have. And yeah, there might be a couple minutes where I don't get a response, but overall, it's a flowing conversation that we're all able to sort of jump in and out on. And that is something that I talk about this a lot on my stream, where I have this sense of pride of being able to make others feel like they are welcome and comfortable to talk. If you weren't originally feeling comfortable to talk in another stream, but in my presence, you felt like you wanted to, that is such a tremendous and satisfying thing to be able to have. And I take a lot of pride in that, because I know a lot of people on Twitch are maybe shy, maybe introverted, maybe socially awkward, and so they're worried about how, they're worried about like 10 different things. Oh, will I be talking too much? Will I be annoying? Will they like my personality? Like, there's all these things that run through your head, and I'm sure we've all had that happen, especially on Twitch. And to be able to work through that and be able to have a place of comfort to develop that confidence there is such a great feeling. See you later, boo-boo. You were living for that today. What's the setter plushie today? I took my little... I didn't put all the plushies out. I only took my Squishmallows and my little Pusheen cat here. I love them because they're very wide and, like, squishable. I wanted to give a little bit of... That was my Christmas gift from my sister. Granted, I picked it out, but she wanted me to... Her exact words were, I want you to pick out a plush that you personally would want for your decorations. I try to... I like being able to... In an ideal world, this entire area would just be full of plushes. You like how it looks on the back today? It looks nice and tidy. It does! It looks much less hectic when it's only the Squishmallows there. Feels like very clean. Pusheen needs to get a collab with Pokemon. Oh my god, a Pokemon Pusheen collab? Yes. That would be great. Oof. Chat, I don't know if you've read my Discord, for those who are in there, but my chair is broken. And when I say broken, I mean... So here's what my chair looks like right now, yeah? Do we understand how broken it is? So I can't sit up straight in this chair and get proper neck and back support. And I haven't been able to sit at my chair for extended periods of time because of it. I emailed the chair company because I only bought this chair 2.5... Yeah, I bought this chair January 10th. And I told them I bought this, you know, only 2.5 months ago. And I was like, hey, can you replace it? And the company went, oh, yeah, we can replace the part. But the part is sold out and we don't have any until April. So, guess who is stuck for like the next 2 weeks with neck and back pain, pretty much. Because, and then like what actually like annoys me a bit too is that they're still selling the chair, so they could send me a new chair entirely, but they only want to send me a part. I stress to them, like, I am dealing with bad like neck and... Are we doing a GoFundMe then? This is causing me stress, like, because I can't sit at my chair without being uncomfortable for extended hours. Like, it takes me about 5 hours to sit at my chair without feeling like I want to lay back down because my neck, like, like, again, like, this is what I would need to do. Like, this is great for neck and back, but I'm literally, like, holding my chair up. Do I just sit like this? Do we just chat like this? Is this what I'll do? Hi, hello, how are you? I hope you like elbows. You're gonna get elbow stream as I hold my chair up. Never had this issue. It's not a matter of, like, I think, like, that. There's just, like, a connotation behind gaming chairs being cheap and easily, like, breakable. But what's funny is that I didn't get a gaming chair brand. In fact, I had a couple people recommend this brand. So what ended up happening is that, I can even show you. This right here is one of the bolts that connects right here at the bottom. And there's supposed to be a little smaller part that holds in between there. But that broke. And so this can't get locked in anymore. And because this part can't get locked in, not only does the chair do that, but also it kind of just rotates on its own. It has a slant to it. This chair literally will just, even when I'm sitting in it, like, I'm not doing this. It's just moving on its own. So, I spent more money on this chair than I have on any other computer chair, and it was the quickest to break. And let me tell you, when your job is sitting at a computer, and I'm somebody who normally likes to stream like 4 to 6 hours. So I can barely make it like 4 hours without feeling like consistent pain anymore. I'm not turning on my PC as early in the day as I normally would. Like, some days I'll wake up and I'll get there, and it sucks. It really does. Because I shouldn't have to, you know, sit through this kind of thing. So that's a little bit on the whole like mental health end that I've been dealing with as well. Shoulder, now we do elbows. Savannah, I have to show you some pictures because I was telling the chat here this. I bought like 5 dresses, like 3 skirts. We're pushing the femininity because, again, that's how I deal with my mental health, is that I have to push through it. Sometimes I'm the kind of girl that I literally have to just throw myself into the fire, and, you know, while it might be scary, it's things that I need to do. Once I own it, I'm like, well, now I feel like I have to wear it. Like, on Monday, I wore this pink dress that I absolutely loved, and I absolutely was into, like, the compliments and everything like that, and, like, that was such a huge thing for me, being able to have that idea of, yeah, look at me, I'm really expressing my femininity in a way that gives me confidence. And the mental health on a positive spectrum was so good because of that. Also, another way to make your friends feel really good and to be feeling much better about themselves, I'ma just say it. Gas your homies up. Tell them they look good. Tell them they look pretty. Tell them they look handsome. Tell them they look whatever adjective they want to hear. Let them know it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Make sure that we keep complimenting each other, because you never know how those things are gonna, if it, you never know how that stuff is gonna impact. You never know how much it's gonna mean to that person. It's one of those things that I personally know that there are some days where I feel very dysphoric and very down on myself. And if I have somebody, compliment the dress that I'm wearing, that I'm trying to wear to feel better about myself, you really do, not know how much that's going to impact. Even, in a similar vibe of checking on your friends. If you think that, or you know that they're not feeling great, message them and be like, hey, I just want you to know that, I'm there for you. Because even if you don't know what you want to say, and I'm speaking literally from experience of yesterday. I had a friend, and I felt like she was tweeting about me because she made a tweet I wish I could be there for a lot of my friends when they're feeling bad, but I don't know what I want to say. And with that, it's one of those, and then she reached out to me and was like, hey, I don't really know what I want to say. I just want you to know that I'm here and listen. That is such a huge thing. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Just having somebody to listen and know that you're not going to be judged, that your voice is being heard, that your feelings are being validated. Those are such major things that go a long way toward not only helping somebody's mental health, but helping them feel overall better. It's great advice. I'm glad. Because, you know, it comes from experience. Like, you know, it's funny. When I was in middle school, there was this girl that I was attracted to. And, yeah, it was like one of those middle school crushes. But I remember I was trying to help her with a problem. And she told me, wow, you know, you should really become like a therapist one day. And it was funny because I took a sense of pride in that. Like, I don't want to be a therapist, but I took this sense of pride in it because I sort of developed this love of wanting to help people and being there for them. You know, I think, like, being able to host, like, an advice talk show or being able to answer questions and give people their ideas, and I mean, that's what this kind of is today. This is like advice. This is life. While we had fun with, like, you know, the Myers-Briggs stuff, it all circled back to personality and mental. And I love being able to have these discussions and have these sort of ideas. If any of you have any other questions, by all means, like, I very much enjoy being able to give these perspectives and these opinions and try to... I think when you're trying to understand things, what's really good... Yo, JR? Following the stream? Hi, JR. Thanks for coming on in. I think what's really good for those perspectives is always having difference in opinions and difference in these mental views, because being able to give that different shift is a way of viewing things in a way that you wouldn't have before. You know what I mean? Like, that's why that's why I, for better or worse, that's why I feel like I like to ask a lot of opinions from people, because I like to hear all the different perspectives, and I like to hear all the different opinions that people are having, so that I can really gauge whether it be on the content side of things, if this is a good idea, or if what I'm saying makes sense in a way. And because I have my way of viewing, but if Pop-Tart in the chat has a different perspective on it, then it provides a further understanding of how something can be seen or perceived. You know, communication is obviously, like, important, but I think communicating just to understand what you're doing and gauging the insight from other people and sort of getting that, like, feedback loop is such a vital thing to, for me personally, just not stressing as much about things. I'm sure most of the people in this chat right now can vouch that at one point or another, I have messaged them and I have asked them their opinion on something, or I've said something in a way that I sort of want their feedback on, because I know that that helps me understand, and that helps me, you know, make sure that what I'm doing sounds like it makes sense. Maybe oh, I just spilled some water on me. Whoops. Hang on. Don't mind me. Spilt a little bit of water. We're okay. That's why we keep paper towels at the desk. Hang on. We have a little bit of a mishap here. Sometimes you stop looking at yourself. Don't mind me. What can I say? We're gonna have some chaotic nature in today's stream. It can't be all serious. I have to make myself look like a fool at least once. Alright. We're okay. I got it taken care of. No, Cody, there's no cheese clapping here. What a mess. I know. I'm just such a messy girl. It's okay. You know, I think ever since last week when I practically broke my stream setup and it happened live on stream, like, I can't imagine if that happened live right now, how I would feel. I would be in such a panic. I would be calling myself, you know, failing, it gets better, like, all of these things. Like, I think it's cliche to say, but the idea that you are your own worst enemy is very accurate and very true, especially in the content creation world. You're always your own biggest critic because there's always something that you feel like you could, or you're always questioning why something isn't going well. And I've heard this with even big content creators where if their viewership, let's say, is down like 2,000 or 3,000, they will be like, what am I doing wrong? Oh, am I washed up, etc. The stream breaking was quality content. I was laughing, but let me tell you, I was stressed. I was stressed. I'm glad that it was quality content, but you know, it's quality content that you don't ever want to experience again. But hey, there was something else that I wanted to say just now too. Oh, it was something about content. Hang on, I'm trying to get the thought back again. My scatterbrain personality on that topic. How do you stop the intrusive thoughts getting to me? I think everybody obviously has their own thing, and I want that to be known. I know I'll use yesterday as an example. I'm somebody who finds help in being able to distract myself. And by that, I mean, I tried to go back to sleep, and I went back to sleep, and then after that, I was able to... I took a shower, which was really therapeutic, and then I cooked 2 of my HelloFresh meals with my mom. These were kinds of things that sort of... I think the best way to deal with an intrusive thought is, let's say I'm sitting in my bed right there and I'm feeling negative. Don't be in the space that it originated from. If you can avoid that, once you get out of that space, you know, for me, imagine if I was sitting in my room like this without that light on as well. Like, this is how dark my room is at 5:30 without lights on. Like, it's such a stark difference. And, you know, you have to do these things that literally change the mood. I remember when I was sad and I was first coming out in college, I would put on, like, sad music. And then I realized how the sad music was obviously impacting my mood further. And then what I started to do, one of the songs, or one of the artists that I listened to for about 5 months straight, there was only like 3 songs. It was Haley Steinfeld, actually. You know that song? Most girls are smart and strong and oh so beautiful. That song, whenever I was feeling down, I would play that song. And that was a great way to sort of help me personally when it came to the stress of not being fully out in college and wanting to sort of push myself. I had like a go-to song that was sort of brightening the mood. And these days, I do the same thing with even like my stream going live. When we listen to Can You Feel the Sunshine, yes, it's become like a thing for me, but that song is just, you know, something that I almost said inherently again, that I use as I can't be upset listening to that song. You know what I mean? Like, does anybody else in the chat have that, like, one song that you know always boosts the mood? And it's easy to ignore those kinds of things that help you because you develop this mentality of staying in that depressed mind or that mental health feeling of sickness, because it's easier to do that when you're feeling down than try to do things in order to help it. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, my breathing's a little rough right now. Anyway, we're good. Absolutely, distracting yourself helps. Then you get too distracted and completely forget what you were gonna do. But that's honestly the ideal if you're dealing with intrusive thoughts. Like, get yourself so wrapped up in something, so distracted that those thoughts can't come back because you're not thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like, if you dive deep into a project, your thoughts are going to be on that project. Not, oh, woe is me. Oh, what am I to do? Not to say that you can't feel that way, but you can kind of see how I use distraction as a way of helping me. And it might not be the best coping mechanism, but it's at least a coping mechanism that I personally have been able to develop into a way of working with myself. And, you know, again, it's one of those things where when I was coming out, I didn't have many of those distractions. I didn't have many of those options because, well, everything was so new to me, you know? I relied on friends to talk to, and I relied on people to be around, and I was relying on... And I think that's what sort of furthered this feeling for me of not being or able to be around as many, like, male figures or male adjacent folk. As weird as that sounds, because what was really helping me for the longest time was having women who were able to help me, and I felt like were on this understanding spectrum of being able to know a little bit more of, you know, how I'm stressed about, you know, presenting male or female identifying, how I'm struggling with clothing and that kind of stuff. And yeah, there's obviously guys that can understand that kind of stuff, and people will... there's always these people that... Or not these people, but there's always going to be... what am I trying to say here? There's always some people who are more comfortable around male and male adjacent folk and femme adjacent folk. Some people don't... I remember when I was coming out, I would have people be like, oh, how are you around, like, girls? Because they're, you know, more judgmental and stuff like that. And I'm like, the girls are the people keeping me sane. They're the ones that I emotionally can relate to and emotionally gravitate to. And so I think, like, the other big thing is overall just sort of knowing the right people to talk to or the right people to gravitate to for yourself. I'm sure we've all had a toxic friendship growing up. I'm sure we've all had a relationship that we, looking back, realized wasn't good for us. And a lot of that stemmed from the male friends that I had growing up. And it has led to me having this hesitation toward being more willing to talk about what's going on with me and what's going on with, you know, in my head. And somebody might not have that experience. Maybe for them it was a group of girls. Maybe for them it was a group of people their age, and now they can only talk to people who are older than them. You know, there's all of these scenarios that can dictate that. So it's knowing where you can go, and then that falls into finding a good therapist and mental health for that kind of thing. Sassy Pants, hello, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Like, one thing I will always stress, please, if you are looking to get like mental health in terms of therapy and stuff like that, be picky. I know it sounds weird to say, but be picky. I want you to be like, no, I don't want to have some elderly person. Like, you want somebody who you're going to feel comfortable with. You want somebody who, you know, you're going to feel like you can relate to what you're talking about and understand you. For me, I talk a lot about content creation at my therapist. So I didn't want a therapist that was going to be 70 years old and doesn't really know the internet very well. You know? It's okay to be picky to get the correct person, because we all need that correct person. And that's the other thing that you need to know about like mental health, is that while you can have a good support group, at the end of the day, you still should make sure that you don't use your friends as your therapists. You can be there for them and you can ask them for advice, but there is a step of professional help that is important and imperative to get, and there are people that are out there to help you. And I'm sure, me speaking, working for a charity like It Gets Better, I'm sure that there's resources out here just within this charity that we have available. Just went through 4 therapists till she found one she liked who understood her. Yeah. I kid you not. I had a therapist. I went to therapy and psychiatry, and I had a psychiatrist starting at like the age of like 3. Between the ages of 3 to 8, I went to therapy. And I had a therapist who I gave out personal information for. I asked him if he would keep this between us when I'm like 8 years old. He said yes. And then to my face tells my mother what's going on after she comes in. Alexa, thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. And for ages 8 until 20, I had this fear and stress about having a therapist because I didn't feel like I could be open with them. And then you have to, find those people. Like Sassy Pants is saying, your sister went through 4 therapists till she found somebody who she liked and understood her. I had 3 before I got to the person that I adore. And now let me tell you, I have followed this therapist to 2 different companies and businesses. She has, ever since I've been working with her, she's had 3 different buildings that she's worked at. And when you know that you have a therapist that you're comfortable with, I tried so hard to stick with her, and I just kept sticking with her because I knew how important it was. And the other thing is that I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but, I have been with this woman for 4 years in therapy. Think about all the baggage and luggage that I've been able to open up and give them. And then you would have to start over again and have to reopen up all of that stuff. That makes me so sad and so afraid because I don't want to have to start over. And that's a completely valid thing to feel. But for me, it became a problem at a certain point because I couldn't find my therapist's new place for like 8 months. So I went almost like 8 months without having therapy again. because she moved and she wasn't, her old job wouldn't allow her to tell me where her next business adventure was, or venture was going to. So overall, having that good therapist, that good mental health provider, that good person who is professionally able to listen to you and is going to be able to help you through it is such a vital thing. And again, the best advice that I say is, again, be picky. I know for me, I wanted a female who was only at most 40 years old, not religious in any way, and just because I wanted somebody who wouldn't have religious connotation behind them, somebody young enough to understand what I was doing, and then a female is always somebody I feel more comfortable opening up to. So, if you're somebody who's looking for a therapist, make a checklist, honestly. Like, write down what you're looking for in a mental health provider and go through that. And then obviously there's the, thing about insurance and making sure that kind of stuff is there. I'm sure it's hard, and I know it is hard because I went through this, but you're going to feel so much better once you find the correct person. And yeah, Allie, I can only, I know how hard it is. I remember when I was in college, I used the schools, my college gave free, free therapy sessions, pretty much, for those who wanted it. And it was on the campus. And I didn't like the person that I spoke to. And while they fit the criteria of female and younger, they would be, one of the things that I vividly remember was I was talking about feeling sick to my stomach, and she would be like, "Oh, where in your tummy is it hurting?" And it just felt like I was being talked like I was a child. I was like, and I'd be like, "You don't need to say tummy." I was 21 at the time. And so it's okay to say, this isn't working out. This isn't who I want to keep seeing. Telehealth is also great. I have done telehealth since the pandemic started. My therapist has been only doing telehealth. That is the other thing to know, is that currently there's a lot more providers out there that are using telehealth that also expands your reach, because you're able to do a telehealth appointment, which means you don't have to drive there, and so you have more people that you can speak to. Not the tummy? Yeah, not the tummy. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm getting OCD with my desk right now. That would have been a huge... Yeah. Especially because, it's not I don't know what else she does. Maybe she works with children as well. But, she was at the college. Her office was in the college. It was only to work with college students there. So, even then, I just feel like there's a way to sort of separate that. And I felt like it wasn't being separated well enough for me. And so, that's okay. And again, because of all of the, I'll say mishaps and rough patches I've had with male therapists, because that's what I had growing up all the time, now it's hard for me to want to, have, that kind of mental health. And again, overall, just make sure that you feel like you have a person that is of professional mental health standing to counteract going to a support group, because support in your friends is great. It's validating. You also need to make sure that there is, just going to have people who are also professionally able to help you. Maybe they can get you resources or medication that you might need. And again, no one is saying it's easy, but I'm gonna be cliche as anything here when I say, just read the words above me here. You know, I want to talk about It Gets Better real quick, because I obviously work as an ambassador here, but I want to show something off here that, honestly, it meant a lot to me. So, yesterday I wasn't feeling great. So, I was like, hey, you know, I was talking about all this. And I was like, can we just show some love and kindness? I'm feeling sick, dealing with intrusive thoughts. Look at all the kindness that people shared to me as like a support group, but this right here. This is when you know you're working with a great charity and a great organization and you have a good relationship with them. I was already crying, and then knowing that It Gets Better personally went and responded to that, it meant a lot. Especially just because I'm like, yeah, that's the brand that I'm working with. That's the brand that I represent. And that's when I had this feeling that I knew that, like, this is good. Knowing that there's a relationship there like that is, yeah. It put a smile on my face. It was very cute. Just, it's very, again, you never know when one message is going to help somebody as much as it does. I had all those comments there, that was nice, and a lot of them meant a lot. But I think, like, that's one of the moments that I'm gonna hold to my heart, is knowing that we're really so thankful for you. I'm thankful for everyone here, and I know my time is winding down, and again, I don't know if I'll get brought back after today. I really hope I do. It's all up to the charity, and again, there's a lot of love to work for something like this. I feel such a sense of pride as in it being able to be an ambassador to a brand like this, knowing that I, as a trans woman, am able to help impact other LGBTQIA folk. Just, it's fulfilling. Yeah, so what if this is a stream on a different channel and my personal channel isn't growing? That's not what I'm here for, you know? I'm here to share stories, share experiences, and let people know that it truly does get better. I am here to make sure that this brand grows, because this is the brand that I'm representing when I'm here. And I still treat this like I'm doing my normal stream. I might be a little bit more careful about the way that I word things because I know that is something I should do when I'm representing a brand. But I still think of this like my stream, you know, this is a place of comfort where I can go live and I can talk to you all. And yeah, most of the people that watch me currently are my viewers, and that's great, but I also have met new people here on this channel who follow from other things. And please, like, for those of you who come here for me, please just give all the other creators a chance on this platform who have their own voice and their own stories to tell, because there are multiple other creators who stream on this platform outside of me, I am not a one-woman person here on It Gets Better. There's plenty of people that I'm sure you can listen to and you can find some sort of similarity and comparison, especially because I know I have a lot of LGBTQIA viewers of mine personally, and I'm glad that you all plan to. And I know it's easy to just watch one person. It's easy to, have the streamer that you watch and then come support them there. I'm somebody who constantly is trying to meet new people, interact with new people, because I like getting to know people. I like hearing stories. I like knowing the person. I like getting to know people and be around people. Especially LGBTQIA people, because I want to keep supporting people that are in this group of people that I am in. Same thing with women. I follow primarily a lot of women, a lot of LGBTQIA folk, because these are the groups that inherently, I know, get targeted from harassment or hate, or they're the groups that I know I want to support because I know how important it is for women supporting women, or LGBTQIA supporting LGBTQIA, There's a lot that goes on in that sort of headspace, and there's a lot that I make sure to do. And it's easy for me to do that and say that I do that, but I hope that everybody knows that when I'm doing it, I try my best to make people know that I am somebody who just doesn't speak and actually does things that I am saying I'm doing. And I think I do a good job at that. I think I do, when I say I want to, work with other women or work with other LGBTQ people, I think I do. I do make sure of that. I do hold myself to that, and I do try to have you, whether it's on my channel or here, just try to get to know new people. And because, whether or not the person is going to talk about it, everybody has stories that are fascinating to listen to. Everybody has, conversations that you can have, and everybody has, something inherently that we can relate to in some capacity. It's very rare that you can't completely relate to somebody. Whether you are a straight white female or a homosexual trans mask, doesn't really matter who you are. People will always be able to gravitate to people. We are human, we are creatures of habit, but we are creatures of social aspect, whether it be in our introverted way or our extroverted way. And knowing ourselves and knowing the people that make us happy and give us fulfillment is a tremendous thing to have. And, I was talking to my mom about this yesterday when I was feeling down, because I was talking about how one of the taboo things you don't talk about on Twitch is your money that you're making. And I was telling her about that I wasn't really making as much money, and she was like, well, then we gotta find you a job. Like, we gotta find you these other places that you gotta work on. And then I was like, but you don't understand. This is where my passion is. This is where my joy comes from. And she was like, well, your dad surely doesn't get joy working at his job. But, I feel like that is such a old school way of thinking that you have to work a job no matter what, even if you don't like it. That I feel like times have changed with that. People can work like, first of all, I'm 25. I'm not 60 and, about to retire. I have plenty of time to get a traditional job if I need to. But right now, this is what brings me joy, talking, telling stories, and giving that perspective. And just because I have a rough day doesn't mean I'm ready to give up. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep being here. I'm going to keep being queer. I have goals. I'm an adventurer. We learned that today. I'm an adventurer. We're going to keep pushing. And that is one thing that I think is important. There's a thing that I like to say, and I think it's really important when you're having bad mental days. Sometimes just being able to say, I'm struggling, is great. Because you struggling means you haven't given up yet. You can say that you're struggling, but that means you're still holding on. And I think that's important to understand, that struggling might at times might have this negative connotation, but believe me that holding on, struggling means you're still holding on, and that is valued. And so I think like that's like another thing that I like to try to remind myself. I like quotes. And so like right now, all the quotes are sort of resonating through my head right now. I remember there was like another quote that I probably heard like 10 years ago. And that quote was, "Hope is not a dream, but a way of making dreams reality." I couldn't tell you who said it, but that quote stays in my head. Because I feel like that quote is a lot of who I am. I have a lot of hope with what I'm doing, and that hope is what makes me not give up on what I'm doing. Whether it's my content, it's my transition, it's my confidence in myself. That hope is that motivation to keep pushing myself on this platform, in front of others, and doing all these things. And I think that is I think that's, again, something that gets just underlooked. You're killing it, girl. Thank you, Gabby. I know today was a day that I didn't plan to have go this way. I didn't plan to sit here and talk for 3 hours straight without a game. We made it happen. We're here. We had an amazing conversation, and I think that regardless of whether or not I'm back on here in any way, I can feel content knowing that I spoke my heart and I was able to have a conversation that was important. And that goes such a long way. Because I have, again, you have that sense of pride to know that if you're back or if you're not back, you want to go out on a good note. And that's with anything in life. Think about, like, if you were a sports person, your last event, you wanted to go as well as you can to have a good memory. And in all honesty, despite not, having a planned game not be able to be played on stream, I think today went well. I think I can't complain about anything that happened today. So, thank you. Sulky, I have a question for you. Is there anybody that we are able to raid out to, or am I just ending today? I know sometimes we don't have anybody to raid, and that's okay. But I want to make sure that at least I know what to expect. Again, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you. This honestly, this was, again, while I was giving stories, this was very therapeutic for me, and I really appreciate it. Okay, everybody. We're going to be heading over to It's Kizos. Please go send some love over. Thank you for listening. Oh my god, you're amazing. Joyful. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's go say hi to another ambassador, please. Go send them all my love. And remember, it does get better. Thank you, everybody.